You didn't have to film these things. Look at that. There's an eagle. There's a bald eagle in the garden. Seriously. Look. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode where we've got a new guy, John. You've probably been waiting. You might have seen him in the background of the last episode or two, but here he is. A very experienced electrician who lives kind of local to me actually. So I don't know if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm John. I've been doing EICRs for the last 3 to 4 years and fancied getting back into install work, which is, to be honest, what I enjoy. And I thought, who better to do it with than Artisan Electrics, as this a quality company who do really quality work. Where do you find the best area to come in on these boards? I've never done these before. Do you normally bring your tails in one of these two to come up the back?
Generally it's easier on the right hand side, I find, so you can just come straight from there, straight in and then down. So the customer is training to be an electrician, and I think he's been doing different bits which we've been kind of helping talk him through a little bit. And he's run this cable in for us, so he's already run that all the way through down to the other side of the porch, because I think his porch was having work done and the roof was off, so it did just make sense to do it then while everything was off. So that makes it handy for us, at least we can just connect and don't have to worry too much about the cable routing. So happy days.
So the gas meter has been moved to the outside the property, so we want to check to see if that's still introducing an earth path. If it does, it needs to be bonded. So what we're going to do is go to the main earth, and on the insulation resistance test it to the pipework. Now if it's below 0.02, which that is, it requires bonding. Try and get a better connection there. It's deemed enough of a path, so we need bonding. So yeah, we're going to run a 10mm down and tag both of those.
By doing that test, basically you're confirming whether or not something is extraneous or not, and whether or not that's introducing another earth path to the building as another potential down to earth, which is different to the potential that you've got here. So if it is different, then that's why you need to bond it, just to clarify that. And then if you've got that bonding, it just brings everything to the same level, making it safe. If you've got no potential difference, you've got nowhere for current to flow.
Even if it is going to be boxed in, it's worth doing.
It's easy to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Here's a question for you. If you have a metal incomer on your water pipe, but a plastic breaks straight afterwards, do you bond it? Well, this is what we're going to test for now. So we're going to do an insulation resistance test across it.
We're getting, even on low ohms, we're still getting a reading, so I would personally want to bond that. So on the insulation resistance, that will be 0. Still introducing an earth path. So they say if you put a foot of plastic pipe, it should insulate enough, but clearly not.
Yeah, I mean, I think John Ward did a really cool video on it where he talks about the potential, like, for water to even carry the earth paths across. And well, maybe we can leave the link to that video in the description. But I think what we'll probably do is just bond it anyways. I think even if that plastic pipe wasn't given a reading across it, because there's still the chance, because you've got the metal incomer that's introducing that earth from outside, there's still a chance you could touch that tap and that has a different potential, or even that this plastic pipe is replaced in future, because that looks quite temporary. No offence to the plumber. That does look temporary, doesn't it? So there's every chance that they might come and decide to do it in copper. So if it's a metal incomer, I think we'll just bond it.
Yeah, makes sense. Do you want it mounted on the wall first, or do you normally get everything?
I will usually get the tails into the main switch first, just because I find I want as much room as I can get for that. Oh, these are not flexi tails. I don't know where he's bought these from. So it's going quite well. We've got the new board mounted, and then this is the old board. The plan is rather than put in this board here, which is out of date, they need a lot of rewiring work done, which the customer, as he qualifies, as he trains, is going to do a lot of it himself. So what we've agreed is we'll put the board there for you, lined up with where the new kitchen cupboards are going to go, and as and when you rewire new circuits, you can just put the new circuit in and then disconnect the old one, put the new circuit in, disconnect the old one, and it saves you having to have a power out if you're doing an occupied rewire. So you'll have the old system and the new system running simultaneously, and then you cut off the old system. That's the idea behind it. Anyways, get this board livened up, connected up, and we'll have that board livened up as well. And we've just installed down here a main switch. So the tails will come out of the meter into the main switch. I know sometimes people don't like coming to the top of the main switch, but it makes absolutely no difference. An isolator is an isolator, it's 2-pole. So it's going to come into the top of the main switch, out the bottom, into this Henley block, then out the Henley block, up into that board, and out of the Henley block, up into that board. Simples.
While Corey's finishing off the fuse board in there, I'm just going to tack this cable round and mount the hypervolt charger.
So this is the new design that Hypervolt have done. I think, you know, it looks tidy. It does look tidy from the outside. It's very, very compact. And I like that the fixing holes are on the outside, so you don't have to use a template. You can just hold it up and mark it. But to be completely honest, wow, that is a tight space to work in. I'm glad it's you terminating this. Because to get a 6mm round past this little capacitor without snapping it off and in there's not really any room. It feels like I'm working in the EO Mini, like, where again they're nice, they're compact, but ridiculous to work in. I'm gonna say it. I think this is a downgrade. I don't think this is an upgrade. I think I preferred the other one. Like, I'm sure there is maybe features that make more sense, maybe for manufacturing or whatever, but that is not pleasant to work in as an electrician.
Trying to get that cover off is a nightmare.
Yeah.
It's really, really difficult.
I just think maybe it's just I'm scared of change. But to actually get those cables in is going to be a right mare, and then get the cover back on again. But we'll see. We'll see how we get on. Maybe I'll take that back, or maybe you won't. Maybe you'll decide you never want to install one again. But yeah.
So this is the first one of these I've done, and in all honesty, it is so difficult to work on. It's just not user friendly at all. Everything's tight, everything's a squeeze, and with so much delicate circuit boards there, it's a bit of a, yeah, I think they could do a bit better, in all honesty. That's not good, that's just spinning. Yeah, that neutral terminal has failed, it's just spinning. It's not looking good for this Hypervolt, in all honesty. Do you do anything with these? Do you just coil them up?
Yeah, I would call them. I wouldn't remove them, just because they could be useful in future on if they ever get a different charger or anything. So what's your thoughts on it so far, your first install?
Just awkward, in all honesty. I know they're trying to make it compact, but there should be some fault for the person that's installing it. And because everything's so delicate here, like I was saying before, it's so easy to just slip and whack a bit of circuit board. It's not great.
Yeah, tricky. It's like this kind of the trade-off, isn't it, for getting more space? It's like, at what cost?
It's so flimsy plastic.
Then you hear the contactor click in, that's it, charging. So there you go, simple as that. We're going to have to come back and adjust a couple of things, annoyingly. Just the screw on the Hypervolt is spinning, so although it's tight, I can't guarantee what torque it's set to, so we're going to have to come back and replace the Hypervolt, I think, but we'll speak to Hypervolt about that, see what they can sort out. We've done bonding for the water and gas. If you're wondering why we have this swoop, it's because the customer's not sure if this will have to move. So basically he's got plenty of length to lower it, move it around, do whatever he needs to, and I still think it looks pretty neat, really. And we've installed him an isolator and somehow some meter seals.
Don't know where they came from.
I don't know where they came from, but it's all sealed back up again. So it's all good and all safe. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.